Hello, I'm Tamsin, and welcome back to English Sound Building, the advanced pronunciation podcast that celebrates the physical side of language learning, encouraging you to do the work to build muscle memory, and master new sounds. Always remember that successful communication is possible in any one of the thousands of global English accents. There is no ideal. But learning about pronunciation helps with clearer speech, will improve your listening. It's fascinating and it's fun, and that is why we're here. As always, if you would find it useful to read as you listen, you can find a script for this podcast on the podcast webpage or on my Patreon page. That's www.patreon.com/EnglishBrickByBrick. The link is in the episode notes. If you do visit my Patreon, do remember that everything is free on there. Just scroll down on the main page. It is just me writing, recording, and editing these podcasts in my free time, though. So if you like what I do and you are able to support me, please do. And thank you so much to those of you who already are or who have done. So this week will be similar to last week in that we're looking at pronunciation on a word rather than sound level. But we'll mostly be looking at longer words this week. And rather than thinking about which syllables are stressed, we're thinking about places where syllables disappear. The linguistic term for this is syncope, which interestingly is also used in medical English as the official term for fainting. So syncope is connected with losing something, consciousness, temporarily in medical English, and a syllable in phonology. Now, some definitions would extend this in phonology to losing a single sound, which we may also think about as a silent letter, for example, the T in Christmas or the first D in Wednesday. But we won't include these today. And it's also worth pointing out that while syncope is the official linguistic term, we also see this referred to as a dropped syllable, a silent syllable, or disappearing syllable. In terms of syllables, the easiest examples of syncope to remember are the ones you've been doing for years. So many of the spoken and written contractions like aren't, are not, or the less formal ones like gonna, going to, are examples of syncope, including both the deletion of a single vowel like the o in are not, or consonants and vowels like in going to, gonna. Syncope is pretty easy to get a hang of where these contractions are used, of course. It's trickier within single words where there is no written contraction, so no visual clue that syncope happens. So today we're going to look at some of those common words with disappearing syllables in British English. Unfortunately, this is one of those things for which there is no rule. However, as you listen and repeat, you'll notice that all of these words are 3 syllables or longer, and that the dropped syllable is never a stressed syllable. It's very often the one after the stressed syllable, though. The dropping of the syllable doesn't mean that all sounds within the syllable disappear either. Generally, the vowel sound, often schwa, is dropped, but the consonants may join other syllables. It's also worth noting that while most British English speakers will drop these syllables most of the time, there are times, for example, if the speaker is purposefully speaking slowly or clearly, that you might hear that extra syllable in some words. And this will actually be a great listening practice for you moving forwards. Where do you notice these syllables being dropped? In terms of your own speech, you're likely to find that there are words where you already produce the shorter form, that is the word with the dropped syllable, because you've learnt the word from listening to other speakers. However, there will probably be some which you've learnt by reading, where you might tend to produce the full form and where it would then be really fun to experiment with dropping that syllable. Okay, so today we're just going to go through a list of those common words where a syllable is dropped, and then we have some sentences to practice. First, the list of words. Listen and repeat. Actually, average, basically, broccoli, business, camera, Catholic, chocolate, comfortable, conference, deliberately, desperate, diamond, different, evening, every, extraordinary, favourite, February, gardener, general, interest, library, miniature, miserable, mystery, practically, preference, probably, separate, several, temperature, vegetable, virtually. Well done. We're going to go through that list again. This time I'll do them in groups of 4. And I'm sure you've already been thinking about it, but it'd be great to reflect on which sounds in the written word are being dropped when we read them with that dropped syllable. The other thing to notice is the ones which you find particularly difficult. And often I find with my learners that here it will be because dropping that syllable is dropping a vowel, which is forcing you to make a consonant cluster that you're not particularly comfortable with. Listen and repeat to the groups of 4. Actually, average, basically broccoli. Business, camera, Catholic, chocolate. Comfortable, conference, deliberately desperate. Diamond, different, evening, every. Extraordinary, favourite, February, gardener. General, interest, library, miniature. Miserable, mystery, practically, preference. And for the last 6, we'll do 2 groups of 3. Probably, separate, several. Temperature, vegetable, virtually. Great work. Okay, we're going to try some sentences with some of those words. We've got 6 sentences this week, so I'm not giving you too many here, but as always, it would be fantastic practice for you to go back through that list using the script after the podcast to see if you could make at least 1 sentence with each word in the list. As usual, we'll read these sentences 3 times. So I'll read them first quite slowly for you to grasp the meaning. I'll pause for you to have some thinking time to process that. And I'll then read twice at a more natural pace, pausing after each one for you to repeat. Sentence 1. I'm going to a different business conference in February. I'm going to a different business conference in February. I'm going to a different business conference in February. Sentence 2. They had several interesting miniature vegetables. They had several interesting miniature vegetables. They had several interesting miniature vegetables. Sentence 3. The temperature on Wednesday was uncomfortable. The temperature on Wednesday was uncomfortable. The temperature on Wednesday was uncomfortable. Sentence 4. He was generally her favourite gardener. He was generally her favourite gardener. He was generally her favourite gardener. Sentence 5. We're going to a mystery evening at the library. We're going to a mystery evening at the library. We're going to a mystery evening at the library. And sentence 6, he's probably desperate for a new camera. He's probably desperate for a new camera. He's probably desperate for a new camera. Well done. And a final fun side note, if you've ever struggled to pronounce an English place name, Syncope might be the reason. It's behind some of the more difficult to pronounce place names in the UK, like Gloucester, Leicester, Worcester, and Loughborough. There we go. That is the end of this week's workout. Don't forget to practice as often as possible to build muscle and muscle memory, speeding the podcast up or slowing it down as you need to. If you'd like to follow me on social media, come find me on Instagram or Facebook at English Brick by Brick. And you will also find me on Patreon at www.patreon.com/English Brick by Brick. Next week, we have a listener request. We're going back to 2 short vowel sounds we've covered before, and I, but this time we're going to contrast them with each other. Enjoy sound building, and I'll see you then.